Welcome to the water cycle lesson. What is it and how does it work? Well, first of all, you've already taken some time and played the water cycle game. You've also seen a short demonstration of kind of the representation of how much water there is in the whole Earth, in comparison to the oceans, the atmosphere, and whatnot. And first of all, just the concept that the water cycle does cycle, it's very unpredictable. It's also very random, and there's no real formula or pattern to how the water is going to move. And in some parts, water doesn't move. It actually stays in the same place. So when you think of water cycling, you should also consider that sometimes it doesn't move at all, and when it does, it's really very unpredictable to say where it's going to go. Let's start off with one of our vocabulary words, water molecule. It's important that you write these notes directly down into your interactive notebook. A water molecule is defined as the smallest particle of matter that could still be called water. In other words, you can't get any smaller than this water molecule. If you got any smaller, you would no longer have water. The common understanding of what this means can be simplified. When you say water, you can also call it H2O. H2O is the representation of water as a molecule. It takes two hydrogens, the H2, and it takes one oxygen, H2O. So if you have H2O and you took away any one of those particles, you would no longer have water. For example, take away the O. You take away the oxygen, now you just have hydrogen and two parts of it. Take away one of the hydrogens, now you have HO, which is not water anymore. So H2O is a water molecule, by definition, the smallest particle of matter that could still be called water. Alright, how much water is on the planet? The entire planet is 70% water. The Earth's surface is approximately 70%. Sometimes I hear 75. It's just an approximate amount. Can you imagine trying to measure all that water? This is also another important detail you should definitely copy directly into your notes because you're looking at a test question answer. Earth's surface is approximately 70% water. Okay, of that amount of water, most of it is in the ocean. Approximately 97% of the water on our planet is found in the ocean. That's a pretty big chunk. That means there's only 3% left. 3% of the water could possibly be fresh water. 97% of it is salt water. Alright, so let's talk about fresh water. Most of the fresh water that you find is locked away in glaciers and ice caps. I don't know if you've seen a glacier or an ice cap recently on the way to school or while traveling through the city. They're kind of remote. They're in places that a lot of people don't live or are populating. So that means pretty much 97% is lost in the ocean. 2% of it is frozen away on some glacier or ice cap. So that leaves 1% of the possible water that might be attainable. Let's talk about some of these forms of fresh water and where they can be found. Okay, obviously ice caps is an example. Again, please copy these notes directly down. Glaciers, those are where most of them are found. But you can also find fresh water in any form of precipitation, including rain. So that includes snow, sleet, hail. Even though they might be dirty and have dirt, that's not what fresh means. Fresh means that it's not salty. You've learned about the water cycle and evaporation's part in it, and when water does evaporate, only water evaporates. Nothing else goes with it. That's why salt stays behind, and anything that's in the atmosphere is considered fresh water. The frost. Frost does come out of the atmosphere, and it forms on a surface, and then when that water comes out of the air or condenses, it freezes. That's called frost. So that would also include dew. If you looked at it the other way, without it freezing, it'd be dew. Groundwater is water that's underground, again, something that's not accessible, but groundwater is also considered a form of fresh water. So an example that is not fresh would be oceans. So again, you're also looking at an answer to a test question. You will probably be asked, hint, you can't see me winking right now, but I am winking. If you saw a list of possible places that fresh water existed, and it included ice caps, glaciers, rain, frost, groundwater, oceans, and you were asked to pick all the examples that are forms of fresh water. You would not select oceans. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. That's the entire lesson and notes that you're going to be taking on the water cycle. It's a very simple concept, and hopefully it all makes sense to you. If not, your neighbor will teach it to you, and they will be charging you an estimate of around $100 per second that they spend with you. And so it's a pretty common rate.
Huh?